Daniel Hart had spent the last 10 years avoiding mirrors. The scar that ran from his forehead across his cheek and down his neck had become the first thing people noticed, and often the only thing they remembered. Before the accident, Daniel had been outgoing. He attended town festivals, helped neighbors, and dreamed of having a family someday. After the accident, everything changed. Children stared. Adults looked away. People became uncomfortable around him. So Daniel stopped trying. He poured his energy into the farm his parents had left him just outside town. The land became his world. The wheat fields, cattle, vegetable gardens, and old red barn asked nothing from him except hard work. For years, that was enough. At least, that was what he told himself. One rainy October afternoon, Daniel saw a woman standing at the entrance to his property. She looked exhausted. Rain soaked her clothes. A small backpack hung from one shoulder. Despite the cold weather, she stood perfectly still, as if she had nowhere else to go. "My name is Emma Carter," she said softly. Daniel nodded. "What can I do for you?" Emma hesitated. "I was told you might have work." Daniel quickly realized she wasn't just looking for employment. She was desperate. After a few questions, he learned that she had lost her job, fallen behind on rent, and been forced to leave her apartment. She had no family nearby, no savings, no place to stay. Daniel invited her inside for a meal. Emma resisted. "I don't want charity." "Good," Daniel replied, "because I'm offering dinner, not charity." For the first time, she smiled. It was small, but genuine. Something about that smile stayed with him. Over the next few weeks, Emma began helping around the farm. She organized paperwork, managed produce sales, improved the vegetable garden, fixed problems Daniel had ignored for years. Slowly, the lonely farmhouse began to change. The kitchen felt warmer. The evenings felt shorter. The silence no longer felt endless. Daniel found himself looking forward to breakfast conversations. Emma found herself laughing again. Neither of them admitted how much they enjoyed each other's company. Meanwhile, trouble was brewing. Margaret Whitmore, one of the wealthiest women in town, had wanted Daniel's land for years. The farm sat on property she hoped to acquire for development. Daniel had refused every offer. Margaret wasn't used to hearing no. When she noticed Emma living on the property, she saw an opportunity. Rumors spread quickly. People whispered. Some claimed Emma was using Daniel. Others claimed Daniel had taken advantage of her situation. The gossip hurt, especially Emma. One evening, she packed her belongings. Daniel found her standing beside the front door. "What are you doing?" "I'm leaving." "Why?" "Because your life was peaceful before I arrived." Daniel looked directly at her. "No." Emma blinked. "What?" "My life wasn't peaceful." He glanced around the quiet farmhouse. "It was lonely." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Daniel said something he hadn't planned. "Stay." Emma's eyes filled with tears. Daniel took a breath. "If people are going to talk anyway, then let's give them something real to talk about." Emma looked confused. Daniel continued. "Marry me." Silence filled the room. Daniel quickly explained. It would be practical, a partnership, a way to protect both of them. Emma would have security. Daniel would have help managing the farm. Neither would owe anyone explanations. Emma thought about it all night. The next morning, she accepted. Their wedding was small, simple. Only a handful of witnesses attended. Most of the town expected the marriage to fail. Instead, it grew stronger. Day by day, meal by meal, conversation by conversation. Daniel discovered that Emma loved gardening. Emma discovered Daniel secretly read novels every night. They learned each other's fears, each other's dreams, each other's scars. One evening, Emma gently touched the scar on Daniel's face. He froze. Most people avoided looking at it. Emma simply smiled. "I don't see ugliness." Daniel swallowed hard. "What do you see?" "A good man." No one had ever answered that question before. Months passed. Then disaster struck. The bank announced Daniel's loan would be reviewed early. If he couldn't repay a large amount within weeks, he could lose the farm. Daniel immediately suspected Margaret Whitmore. His suspicion proved correct. Margaret had used her influence to pressure the bank. She believed financial stress would force Daniel to sell. The situation seemed hopeless, but Emma refused to quit. Together they worked longer hours than ever. They expanded produce sales, attended every market, accepted extra contracts. Neighbors who truly knew Daniel began helping. Walter Henderson organized support. Pastor James encouraged the community. People slowly realized the rumors had been wrong. Daniel and Emma genuinely cared for each other. Their marriage wasn't a scheme. It was real. The closer they became, the harder it became to ignore their feelings. Then one night, a violent storm hit. High winds tore through the property. Part of the barn roof collapsed. Animals escaped. Emma rushed outside to help. Daniel followed. A large tree branch suddenly cracked overhead. Without thinking, Daniel threw himself toward Emma. The branch crashed where she had been standing seconds earlier. For a moment, they lay in the mud beneath pouring rain. Daniel's heart pounded. The thought of losing her terrified him, more than he wanted to admit, more than he could deny. Back inside the farmhouse, neither could pretend anymore. Daniel looked at Emma. "I thought I lost you." Emma's eyes filled with tears. Daniel stepped closer. "I don't care about the rumors." He swallowed hard. "I don't care about the farm." Emma stared at him. "The only thing I care about is you." The room became silent. Then Emma smiled through tears. "I love you too." For the first time, their marriage stopped being an arrangement. It became a love story. But Margaret Whitmore wasn't finished. Desperate to destroy them, she attempted to sabotage their business. What she didn't know was that several people had gathered evidence against her. Fraud, bribery, illegal pressure on the bank. The truth finally emerged during a public hearing. One by one, witnesses spoke. Documents were presented. Records were reviewed. Margaret's influence collapsed. The bank reversed its actions. Daniel kept the farm. The community finally saw the truth. After years of isolation, Daniel found himself accepted again. Not because his scar disappeared, but because people finally saw beyond it. Months later, Daniel and Emma sat together on the porch watching the sunset. The wheat fields glowed gold. The air smelled of summer. Emma took Daniel's hand. "I have something to tell you." Daniel smiled. "What is it?" Emma guided his hand to her stomach. His eyes widened. "We're having a baby." For several seconds he couldn't speak. Then tears filled his eyes. Happy tears. The kind he hadn't cried in years. He wrapped his arms around Emma. For most of his life, Daniel believed his future would be lonely. A scar, an old farmhouse, and endless silence. Instead, life had surprised him. The woman who arrived with nothing had given him everything. A partner, a home, a family, and a reason to believe that even broken chapters can lead to beautiful endings. As the sun disappeared behind the fields, Daniel looked at Emma and smiled. Not the careful smile he used to force. A real one. the kind that comes from finally understanding that being loved has very little to do with appearance and everything to do with the heart. And for the first time in many years, he felt completely at peace.